Hi, it's Penny here, and today I'm going to be doing the Why Haven't I Read This Yet tag. I was tagged by Rachel, who I will link down below, as well as the original creator. But basically, we're going to talk about 5 books that I should have read, and I constantly am asking myself, why haven't I read this yet? So basically, there are 5 categories. We're going to pick one book for each category. The first category is a classic. Now, I don't read very many classics. And to be honest, most classics that I am interested in are fantasy or sci-fi, less on the sci-fi side because some older sci-fi is quite unreadable in my opinion, for my taste. And also I did like a fantasy Coursera a while ago, which meant as part of that I read a lot of fantasy classics. I do particularly like Dracula and Frankenstein, which I read for that class. But anyway, we're talking about the one where I'm asking why haven't I read this yet? And what I'm going to go with is one I think counts as a classic, but it's my video, my rules. I'm going to count The Birds by Daphne du Maurier. So I have read Rebecca and also My Cousin Rachel by Daphne du Maurier, and I really enjoyed both of them. And I have seen the film of The Birds, terrifying as someone who has a fear of birds, terrifying. And I would really like to read the book. Will it exacerbate my fear of birds? Probably. But also, like, I think that would make it like even a more enjoyable reading experience because I will really feel that fear. That's my theory anyway. So The Birds is basically a story about a town where a bunch of birds come and just start attacking people. I don't know if the book has more of a storyline to it. And maybe the movie did, but I've kind of forgotten. But I think that's the summary of it. And half the horror of it is just like not knowing why these birds are suddenly doing this. Then next is a fiction book, and I'm going to go with one which is one that I ask myself every time I look at my TBR, why haven't I read this yet? And that is Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. Firstly, this is a New Zealand author. I love supporting New Zealand authors. Also, I got the ebook for free quite a long time ago, several years ago, and I have read the first chapter or even the first couple of chapters, and I absolutely loved it. But because I was trying not to start any series, I've put it aside. And then even now when I'm starting to start new series, for some reason, Gideon never ends up being the one that I pick, even though really, I want to read Gideon the Ninth. Like, I'm so excited to read it. Everything I hear about that series makes me so intrigued. And those first few chapters I read, I really enjoyed. Like, I think I'm going to love it. So why haven't I read it yet? Fate just hasn't aligned. But I'm hoping that soon it will happen. If not, by the end of the year, definitely first thing next year. It's got to happen. It's got to happen soon. Then next is a non-fiction book, and I'm tossing up between 2, so actually I'm just going to tell you about both. First, I have this copy of The Art of War by Sun Tzu. This is kind of a classic. Maybe I could have counted this for my classic book, actually. Just a book about strategy, really. It's something that often gets brought up in a lot of different contexts, and I would like to read it. And I've had this for quite a long time. So why haven't I read it? And like, it's not even very long, I don't think. Like 100 pages, and the writing is quite big, and it's only one-sided, so it's actually only 50 pages. So why haven't I read this? Why? It's a prioritization problem, this one, but hopefully, you know what? Nonfiction November's coming up. Maybe I could get this one in there for that, because it should be quick, right? The other one that I have for nonfiction is something that would be less quick. So this is Images of Organization by Gareth Morgan. I actually bought this for a management paper that I did at university, and I was supposed to read it for that management paper, and I think I read a few bits of it, but I definitely didn't read everything I was supposed to, and I'm not mad about it. I still got an A in that paper, so like, did I need to read it for that paper? Obviously not, but it is something that I'm actually interested in, maybe. Like, it's all about different metaphors for organizations. Like the paper I was doing, it was about like different metaphors for different kinds of organizational structures. And like when I was in project management-y type stuff to do with software management, it was something I was really interested in learning more about. I kind of have a big question now. Like, there's a few of these management-y type books that I still have on my shelf and on my TBR that I kind of want to read, but also now that I'm not really working in that field, part of me questions whether I am actually interested in this anymore. Like, honestly, I think I am, but also I don't know. and also I have so many things to read. I just don't know if I will ever prioritize this because this is 450 pages and the text is small. I don't know, but if I had infinite time, I would 100% read this. So I guess actually that's fun when I'm asking the question, why haven't I read this yet? The answer is time and prioritization. And actually mental power as well, because this is something that as I read it, I would want to have like full focus. And do I have that mental power? No. And that's a problem. Like, it would have been useful to read this while I was working, but also while I was working, I had even less mental power. So that's quite annoying. Then the next category is a genre of your choice. And of course, I'm going to go with fantasy and also another New Zealand author, and that is A Declaration of the Rights of Magicians by H.G. Parry. So this, I have read the first 2 chapters, I think, as part of my Try a Chapter, like series Try a Chapter project. It's been a while since I read that first chapter, but basically, people who have magical abilities, unless they are like of an upper class, aren't allowed to use their magical abilities, and they basically have them locked away. And we're following some children who I think are going through really awful consequences because of using their magic and like taken into slavery, I think. And we're also following like these people from the upper classes who are really fighting for the rights of magicians to use their magical abilities. And I really loved those first chapters. And this is another one where the only reason I haven't picked this up, so I do know why, it's because I was trying not to start new series, but I am so excited about reading this. And I'm now thinking that actually maybe I've started some series that I'm less excited about compared to this. So like, why am I not reading this? Because I'm an idiot, maybe? Then lastly, we have the book that's been on my TBR the longest, and for this I have Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel, and this one is actually on my October TBR. I'm hoping to get to it by the end of the month, although I noticed that the audiobook hold list is a little bit longer than that, so hopefully it'll come in early. Sometimes they do. But this is a story about like a pandemic takes over the world, and I think it's a bunch of kind of connected short stories about this theatre troupe that's like traveling around this apocalyptic type situation after the pandemic. I could have that completely wrong. But this was hyped on BookTube quite a few years ago. I put it on my TBR, and then I think I kind of forgot about it until COVID. And then again, I just haven't managed to prioritize it. But hopefully this month for that one. So that's not too bad. Anyway, that is the tag. I have not organized who I might tag for this, but if you're watching this and you would like to do it, then please do the tag or drop some answers that you have down in the comments. I'd love to chat with you down there. Do subscribe if you'd like to see more of my bookish videos. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you are doing well, and I will see you next time.